Halloween Scare in Kansas City. Written by Eric James. Illustrated by Marina Ley Ray. Prepare, if you dare, for a night full of thrills. The time Kansas City gave everyone chills. A tale filled with sights that are best left unseen. You ready? You sure? This was my Halloween. The werewolves howled loudly, the moon shone so bright. I stayed in my bedroom, the curtains shut tight. My heart started pounding, my knees felt so weak. But being a brave kid, I just had to peek. I pulled back the curtains, my mouth open wide. An army of monsters had gathered outside. They staggered and stumbled and lurched down the streets with bags full of cookies and candy corn treats. Emerging from the sewers and houses and stores came creatures and critters with ravenous roars. Then more came along from all over the state. They filled up the streets at a dizzying rate. From Foxcroft and Hyde Park and Willow Creek too, the mountain of monsters, the motliest crew, all gathered together for one spooky night to seek out the living and give them a fright. The thunder clapped loudly with terrible booms. The witches dodged lightning and clung to their brooms. The two-headed doggies tried chasing their tails, and banshees let loose with hideous wails. The vampires hung out on the street in their gangs and grinned just to show off their pearly white fangs. The mummies moaned loudly and swayed side to side, while Frankenstein stomped about town with his bride. The speedway was buzzing with phantoms and cars. The water parks filled up with green men from Mars. The giants had traveled from faraway mountains to take off their clothes and then bathe in the fountains. The gaggle of witches decided to play the game of witches' baseball inside of the K. With broomsticks for bats and with balls made of lightning, the game was quite thrilling, but also quite frightening. The creepies were crawly, the crazies were crazed. The Mission Hill zombies had eyes that were glazed. The ogres from Westport were ugly as sin, with big bulging noses and warts on their chin. The ghouls danced around, but were lacking in soul. The gargoyles could rock, and the headless could roll. Although the whole spectacle seemed to spell doom, I foolishly thought I'd be safe in my room. But then something happened that made my heart jump. From somewhere below me, I heard a big thump. I froze for a moment, as quiet as a mouse. Yes, I can hear noises from inside the house. I put on my slippers and pulled on my robe. I shook like a leaf, but I don't think it showed. Then, slowly but surely, I crept down the stairs, preparing myself for the biggest of scares. My hands trembled wildly. I opened the door. I still shudder now at the horrors I saw. The stereo spat out some hideous sound as dozens of monsters jumped madly around. The sight was horrific. It made my skin crawl. These monsters were having their Halloween ball. And right in the middle, one monster loomed tall. The hairiest, scariest monster of all. He turned around and saw me. I fell to my knees. I'm not very tasty, so don't eat me, please. He beamed ear to ear and broke free of the huddle, ran over and gave me a big monster cuddle. At last, we have found you, he said with a smile. From downtown to Longview, we looked for a while. We came here to give you Your wonderful prize. He held up a trophy in front of my eyes. A prize? And for me? I replied with a grin. But what did I enter, and how did I win? You've won the first prize for the costume you're wearing. It even scares me, and I'm tip-top at scaring. This isn't a costume. I'm just dressed as me. Exactly, the scariest thing you can be. A small human child with a cute button nose. Your teeth are so shiny, you've only 10 toes. No hair on your face and no horns on your head. The whites of your eyes are not glowing or red. A bone-chilling costume, a horrible sight, a worthy ensemble for Halloween night. We partied together until the moon set, a Halloween night that I'll never forget. And next year I won't want to hide in my bed. The monsters won't scare me. I'll scare them instead.